Hello, welcome to I Authentic, a support forum for people battling long-term illnesses and or disabilities. My name is Uzo, and with me today I've got Lola.
Hi everyone.
Lola is a life coach and the founder of Connecting the Dots and Beyond Image. Lola has been, is not, I won't say has been, but she is a big part of my life. When people talk about or talk to me about, wow, Uzo, you seem to have gotten it together, or it just you just seem to have gone through this so easily. And I think I always say it's because I've always had the right people around me supporting me. Lola being one of them. From my previous videos, you've seen Fola also. And this time we're going to do it a bit differently from what Fola and I do, because in previous videos, I let Fola do like the interviewing, but this time we're going to chat about my journey, and Lola is going to give a little bit of advice to people out there with similar conditions, because it's situations, because you can't even though I'm going to share my journey, there's still so much to talk about, and there's still so much to give. So, Lola, one of the things I wanted to express to the people out there was, or I wanted you to talk to them about, was how to find themselves. How do you find yourself? I remember when I started on this, will I say, journey. Not really when I started, really, when the children came on, because when it was just Chris and I, and the symptoms were not presented, it was still okay. We were still fine. But when children came along and symptoms were now presenting, then it was a different ball game, and that is where you came in. So I had to balance being a carer, being a wife, a mother, and a working woman, and it was difficult. And then I wanted to do so much more. I felt I had so much more, but I didn't know what to do about it. If you remember,
Absolutely, I do. Yes.
and I came to you and I said to you, everything seems so muddled up, and I don't want this condition or the circumstances I find myself to have such a big impact in my life, because I think as people we are more than our circumstances.
Absolutely.
And it's how you handle these circumstances, and you can't do it alone. Really, you need somebody out there to do it. And as I said in my previous videos, I had looked for support groups for people like me. So a lot of the carer support groups had elderly people there, and I was a working mom with young children, so I wanted
So you
something.
felt you were slightly different.
Exactly. So I had to go out of what would be the norm to look for how to get that help. Now, I'm not saying going to a life coach isn't, but when you're looking for people, you're looking for people that you think that they would feel you.
Yeah.
And you are one of those few people I've seen out there that, there's a life coach that that could feel the empathy, you could feel what I was going through, which is why it was so good for us to relate to all these years, and you've been on my back, and I mean, having I Authentic, it's actually also because of you. Because when I came up with this idea, guess who I went to? Lola, I went to. So for the people out there, watching this program, what would you also say to them? And just like you said to me also, about how can they find themselves? Because how can they know what to do? Especially if they are so muddled up or so busy that they can't. How do they say it? You cannot distinguish the wood from the trees. Everything is, and there's something out there, and you just don't want to get overwhelmed by it all.
I think, thank you for that. I think the first thing I'll probably say is, if we go back to your journey before I answer that question, I think it's so easy to get caught up in everything that's happening around you, and to completely forget who you are, completely forget yourself. And I remember when we first started talking about this, and you had so much on your mind, you had so much that you wanted to do, and you didn't know where to start from. You had an idea of what you wanted to do, but you didn't know where to start from. You wanted to do so many things. You wanted to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I was also very, very conscious that you wear many hats. Obviously, you're a wife, you're a mother, you work. And at the same time, you're also a carer.
Yes.
which is a slight different role from your role as a wife as well.
Oh yes. Definitely.
And it's all of that combined.
Yes.
Now that's all you.
Mhm.
That makes you, all you. And one of the things I wanted you to do was, to go on a journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
And I know that was difficult for you at the time because one of the things I had to get you to do is to go back and actually write about yourself.
Oh yes.
And I think that's a challenging exercise.
It is.
At best, it seems quite easy
Yes.
in terms of, I can write about myself.
Mhm.
But when you sit down to actually start writing it, it's difficult to actually know, where do I start from?
Yeah, exactly.
What do I
Yes.
want to include in
Yes.
this? What do I want to do that?
Yes.
But the reason why I asked you to do that was because it's a powerful exercise. Because when you reflect on who you are,
Yeah.
you reflect on where you've been, you reflect on your so many issues
Yes.
and where you want to go. And I wanted you to articulate them yourself.
Oh yes.
Rather, because I could easily have said to you, "Oh, Uzo, okay, this is what you need to do. This is who you are." But I don't want to tell you who you are.
Yes.
You know who you are more than anyone, and I wanted you to write that yourself.
Yes.
And I remember the first time you did that, it took you a while to come back to me because because I knew that it was going to be difficult.
Yes.
Not necessarily difficult, challenging in a way to to
Yes.
articulate those.
Yes.
But I realized that there was a change in you the minute you wrote that out. In some ways, I almost felt that you became more powerful.
Yes.
Because
That's
you,
true.
in some ways, you were responsible for yourself. You were
Yes.
responsible for the things you've written.
Yes.
And sometimes doing that reminded you of some of the things, reminded you of who you were.
Yes.
Even
Exactly.
before all of this.
Yes.
Because one of the
that's
things
true.
you do is you forget who you are and you get caught up in your current situation.
Oh yes.
And that becomes your new reality.
Yes.
But obviously, being someone who's knowing you're someone who's very proactive. You're quite strong, and
Thank you.
you want to do a lot of things, which is good. You're passionate,
Yes.
but at the same time, I wanted you to be structured in your thoughts.
Oh yeah.
I wanted
Very
you to be
important.
quiet and also be mindful of your reality because
Yeah.
the reality you're living in, I didn't want you to ignore it,
Oh,
but I
exactly.
also wanted you to be aware of how it will impact on anything you're doing going forward.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm glad you did that exercise because I think without that exercise you'll not be here today. And it's still a work in progress.
Oh yes, it is.
So
It
going
is.
back to your question in terms of what you were asking, I think is the first thing to do is take a step back.
Yes.
So I think sometimes when we do these things, when you're in that situation, everything is muddled up.
Yes.
And you can't sometimes you don't know where you're going
Yes.
with what you want to do. So sometimes it's going back on your journey, look at where you've come from. It's almost
Yeah.
like an assessment of self.
Yes.
Go back to where you were, look at the things you like to do
Yes.
and why you're not doing them anymore. What could you do? I think there's a reality about accepting where you are,
Yes.
understanding that some things are not going to change, but the things that I can change, what can I do with that?
Yes.
So
and that is
rather than
true.
focus on the situation,
Yes.
think about what you can do around
Yes.
that situation.
And it's
What
very
more
true.
could you do?
Yes.
And those are the things that I said to you. You know what? You need to think about. Stop worrying about things you cannot change.
Oh yes.
Think about the things that you can change.
Yes.
What can you
exactly.
do? And begin to look at that. So I remember, you're looking at different business ideas, but at the same time, I always say that always make sure that whatever actions that you have is set around your family as well.
Yes.
Because you're the
Definitely.
main person in that family,
Yes.
obviously, because you carry
Yes.
a lot of responsibilities.
Yes.
And you can't do anything outside of your family.
Yes.
So everything you do has to be with them in mind. As
Oh
well.
yes. Oh.
But
Definitely.
also at
Very
the same
important.
time, not losing yourself
Yes.
in all of that at the same time, because as you're still a woman,
Yes.
you still have your vision, you have your passion. And I think the one thing obviously that's quite good is structure your thoughts. It's very,
Yes.
very useful.
Yes.
Set your goals.
Yes.
Now don't set goals that you know that you can't achieve.
Chief. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I know you were quite ambitious with one thing that you wanted to do, and sometimes I always feel like rein you in, like slow down, okay, gradually, and it's good to have those goals as well.
Yes.
But look at the things that you can do immediately.
Exactly.
I think when you're in strain like that, you want a boost.
Oh
in
yes.
some
And,
ways.
and which is
So
true.
it's good
Yes.
to do something you can achieve very, very quickly,
Yes.
but have it structured.
Mhm.
Have a structured plan. Articulate your thoughts.
Yes.
Speak to people, and I think
Yes.
I think the best thing I personally feel that you've done is seeking help.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's so, particularly given our culture,
Yes.
sometimes it's so easy to stay back
Oh yes. Yeah.
and not
yeah.
wanting to say things. And I
Mhm.
think this video is an example. When I started doing the videos, and
Yeah.
that's something I've been very proud that you've been able to do.
Thank
I know that
you.
you were reluctant for a long time to do that, but I'm glad you're doing it because sometimes, like I said to you, sharing your story empowers other people.
Yes.
Sharing your
That's it.
story helps other people.
Yes.
Sharing your story actually helps you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think also
definitely.
it helps you understand where you've come from.
Yes.
It helps you understand where you are
Yes.
and where you need to be. And I think for anyone out there, it's important that you seek the right help.
Yes.
Make sure that it's someone who understands you, and obviously somebody who's passionate about helping you to succeed in that thing as well. So I think that's very, very key for anyone. And like I said, to have fun writing. Have fun writing your thoughts, whatever they are. Have fun writing them down. So I think sometimes even the art of writing helps you. Helps you to relax. And then because you're writing it yourself, you remember. You'll be surprised. As I said, keep a journal.
Oh yes,
that's one thing. I said, always have a notebook.
I've just literally started.
Keep a journal. Write things down. Like I said, seek help. But at the same time, still stay who you are. Because don't lose yourself in this situation. And it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's very, very easy. You have days where you feel hyped up. There are days you feel really good, and there are days you feel really you feel really down. And it's okay to feel that way. And I think the one thing you don't want to do is condemn yourself when you feel that way, and or talking down to yourself that why you're feeling that way. You're human. You have feelings, but don't dwell on that feeling.
Don't stay down.
Don't stay there. For a minute, if you want to cry, it's like I said, it's okay. You can have a good cry, but then move on to the next.
I remember the number of times I called you and said, "Lola, really, I'm not too sure."
Absolutely. And this is why for me as a coach, it's important that I listen to people and I let them feel what they're feeling. So if you come, I'm not going to say to you, don't feel that way. If that's how you feel at that moment, feel that way. But then what I say to you, what's next? What's the next? What's your action? What do you want to do about that? And I think it's important that when you set a goal, if you want to achieve something, you always write what your expected outcome is. What is your expected outcome? What do you want from this? Don't just set a goal. What do you want to see in that? And I think those are things that some of those things we're still working on, and some which you've done already. But I think I'm not going to sit down to you and tell you I understand this situation fully because I'm not in that situation. But at the same time, I can understand the kind of support that you need and how I can, as a coach, help you to do it.
And you've absolutely been tremendous in that. And one of the problems also you'll find out when you're struggling to try and move forward, okay, or you've done a lot of, I've written the bio and everything, is that you're still in that comfort zone. And you know what you want to do, and you know the steps you need to take, but it's kind of difficult. And most times, at least for me, I use Chrissy's situation as an excuse. I have to put my hands up. I used it as but I'm dealing with him, but I'm a carer, but there's so many buts, because I used him as my comfort zone also. And I had to move out. You had to show me how to move out of your comfort zone. And we don't have a lot of time left, but just to cover this part, what would you say to people out there? How can they get out of that comfort zone? Because we just want to stay there.
I think everybody loves the comfort zone. But I always say this is a popular thing. The comfort zone is okay, but nothing goes there. Now, in your own case, and I've said this to you before, there's always going to be a reason why you can't do something. And sometimes the reasons are quite legitimate. But it's knowing that if you don't do anything, you're always going to stay there. And I think the first thing you want to do is get yourself up. And say, I can do this. And sometimes you're staying in that comfort zone because it's a comfortable place for you to be. And going out of that comfort zone, you're thinking you don't know what you're going to get. And sometimes it's also fear that keeps you in that comfort zone because it's what you're used to, and you're thinking, what if I go there? What if I don't succeed? What if that? But I always say this: what if you succeed? What if you succeed? And I think my job as a coach and as a friend is to encourage you and let you know that there's light at the end of that tunnel. Just take the step. It only takes you. Just take one step. And when you take that step, a good example, this video, and that's you coming out of your comfort zone. Because one of the things I know we've talked about, and I'm sure I can share on this video, is that you don't like the way you sound. You don't want people knowing some of your issues. You're comfortable being who you are. But it's not taking you where you need to.
I wanted to write a blog rather than do a video, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're hiding behind. I don't want to. But it's also taking that bold step, which you've done. And tell me how you feel. After doing that now, do you feel...
I can't believe it, actually. I can't believe how I can't even believe that I can go back to these videos and listen to myself.
Yeah.
I'm not one to listen to my voicemail or listen to that. So I couldn't believe what that it was liberating.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's about acceptance as well, because you're accepting who you are. Because one of the things that in the line of work that I hear people say, oh, I don't like this about myself, I don't want to do this. But that's exactly that same thing that you need to use. Because that's what I think it's about. If once accepting who you are, accepting your reality, accepting the situation you're in, and knowing that there's nothing you can do about that, but the things you can do something about, you do that and you change that. And just taking that step, taking that first step is crucial. I think in some ways it's almost difficult to help you take that first step yourself. But sometimes as a coach, I want to take those steps for people, and you know what, you can do this, but you have to do it yourself. And all I can say about that is take the first step. Take the first step. Have the right support around you. Have the right people around you. And I think also, take time out to think about what you want to do. Don't rush into something. Don't do something in the moment and think, if you're upset, don't make sure when you're upset. Sometimes I've heard you say, I'm just going to say, Uzo, calm down.
Calm down.
Don't do that. Be mindful of, what your emotion is saying to you.
Exactly. And thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
And thank you for watching. I hope you have gained a lot from this, and I would love to hear from you. Lola would also love to hear from you. So if you have any comments, please, put them in the comment section, or email i.authentic. Remember, authentic has a double I at the end, @gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lola.
Bye. Thank you.